Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Lily, and I'm so happy that you are here with me today. In today's video, I am going to bring you along as I create some junk journal covers from cereal boxes and repurposing a calendar. It's a calendar that I've been holding on to since 2018, so that'll be fun to be able to use it instead of just having it tucked away. And right now, I am just going to give you a little preview of all of this cereal boxes that I am going to use and transform them into junk journal covers. Yes! So now I don't eat this much cereal, you guys. I have recruited my family and I've asked them to please save their boxes for me. And these boxes are some that I've collected, my youngest daughter has given me, and then my mother has given me as well. And so let's kind of go through my process. I have in the past recorded my process video on how I trim it down and how I create the foundation for my junk journals. This is actually the easiest and the best way to get started in making junk journal covers. So grab your supplies, grab yourself a cereal box, and join me as we create a junk journal cover. Now my junk journals are typically 8.5 by 6 inches. That is my favorite size to work with, and I like a spine to be no more than 2 inches wide. So right now I am just trimming all along the outside of the unfolded cereal box and just kind of getting rid of the excess flaps and following the guide for or keeping the oh my gosh, my mind just went blank. Following the creases, you guys. I'm following along the creases, just getting rid of some of the excess. Now, because I trimmed all around the edges, they are going to be uneven, and the only even area I'm going to have to use as leverage, or is like my balancing line, or my level line, I should say, is the folded side on the left-hand side. So that edge I'm going to push up against the lip there of my big cutter, because that's what's going to keep it all level. And I'm going to trim a little bit off the right-hand side. And then I'm going to turn it around, and now I'm going to measure to the 8.5 inch line. And that's what keeps it level. Did that make sense? I sure hope so. Now, I do have another video, okay, you guys, and so I will link that video down below. So if you would like to go and see that one. But it's basically just following the level line at the crease and then just trimming it down to a size that you like. I like 8.5 by 6. And the 6 inch is the width of the journal. Now notice how I am lining it up to that crease line to the 6 inch mark, and I'm just trimming away the excess. I'm using the crease or the fold as my guide. Doing the same thing on the opposite side. Again, lining it up to the 6 inch line and trimming off the excess. And this way, the front and the back cover are now 6 inches wide, and it is 8.5 inches tall. And this is the size of spine that I like. So you can see here how it is taking shape. Now, I know I have all of those other cereal boxes. I'm not going to cut each one of those on camera. I'm only going to do the one, and I'm going to do the others off camera. Let me tell you a little bit about this calendar. It is a mother and daughter team. They are both artists, Annette and Theresa Armas, and they are from Whittier, California. Well, at least that's where I met them. And they have a little shop, or they have a shop in Whittier. And I don't know if it's still there because it's been a few years. But they are amazing artists, and they draw a lot of the Mexican folk art is what they do. And so they create a calendar every year, and I picked this one up in 2017 for 2018, and the images are just so beautiful and vibrant and full of color, and that's what drew me to purchase this calendar. I just loved it, and even after I used it in 2017, I held on to it. It's just beautiful, and I knew that one day I would repurpose it somehow, and today is the day. So we are going to use these pages as the covers, or yeah, as the top cover for the journals, because the cereal box is only the base. It's only the foundation, or it's your substrate. We are going to layer on top of that, and then we are going to use the calendar pages as the focal point for the front cover of the junk journals. And I do have a lot of other calendars that I've also been holding on to from past years, and I will do this. And they're not all this theme here, the Mexican folk art, the sugar skull. They are actually like farmhouse and animals and beach scenes. So I may transform those at one point, maybe in the future, and do exactly the same thing. I do want to give credit to the artists because they are amazing. They have an Instagram page, and it is called Skulls and Stitches. I will have more information about their Instagram down below. So if you'd like to go and take a look and follow them and see all of their other beautiful artwork, go right ahead. I'll have that information down below. Again, Skulls and Stitches. They are amazing. Okay, so now I have a guide, and this is a guide that I have used in all of my journals, at least the last dozen or so journals that I've made in the past. So what this does is it creates a window for me, and I cut it to 8.5, or that opening is 8.5 by 6. And it's a window, and I kind of place it over the image I want to trim down to 8.5 by 6. And then I only make 2 little marks in the upper right hand corner, and then I use those as a guide to trim it down. And then I trim it down to 8.5 by 6 because I'm going to slap it right onto the front cover of the journal. You'll notice that this process is very similar to the process of my Christmas junk journals. If you have been following me since last year, I started working on Christmas junk journals last August. And this was basically the same technique, except for my Christmas junk journals, I used gift boxes, decorative and printed shirt gift boxes. But it was the same process. I took my guide or my template, placed it over the shirt box, just like I did with the calendar page, and then trimmed it down to size. This was the easiest thing for me to do, because before I was just kind of eyeballing and measuring, not eyeballing, but I would take my ruler and kind of draw an 8.5 by 6 square. And sometimes it wasn't square. Sometimes it was, a little bit askew. So creating the template has actually helped. And I just used some extra chipboard that I had laying around. And then I cut an 8.5. I drew an 8.5 by 6 inch square or rectangle. And then I just cut it out with the X-Acto knife. And now it is my template. Ta-da! And this is what I have done. And the process goes by pretty fast. As long as you have all of your elements and everything that you are going to use to put it together, it really doesn't take a lot of time to create a junk journal cover, because most of it, or the cereal box, is basically in the shape of your junk journal, and so it doesn't take a lot to just, trim it down to make it look like a cover. Now, I am going to reinforce it. Some of these cereal boxes are a little weak. They're not a very heavy-duty chipboard, so I am going to reinforce it by adding some heavy cardstock to the outside and the inside of the junk journal. And I typically reach for scrapbooking papers in colors that I know I'm never going to use, you guys. But I used a lot of those in the Christmas junk journals. I think I made like 24 Christmas junk journals. And so I went through a lot of cardstock. But that's what I do. I use it papers or cardstock that I've been holding on to for years that I know I am never going to use, not even in my scrapbooking layouts. But for demonstration purposes, I just reached for the closest thing, which was this black cardstock. And now I'm trimming these to 8.5 by 6. Everything is the same size. The cover, 8.5 by 6. The focal point, 8.5 by 6. And these reinforcers or these layering pieces, also 8.5 by 6. Everything is the same size. And now I am just going to glue it to the outside covers, and then I'm also going to glue it to the inside covers. And then I did, up ahead, I'm going to show you a step that I missed while I was doing this. So I also trimmed down some cardstock that is 8.5 by 2 inches, or just slightly under 2 inches. And to reinforce the spine. And so I didn't do it here because I completely forgot. But then as I continued working on the junk journal cover, I realized that I forgot that, and I fixed it. And I'm going to show you up ahead how it is that I make it work. I make it work that way. And now I use glue stick to stick these down. I was thinking about using my tape runner, but remember, with tape runner, there's no wiggle room. Once you commit to that tape runner, it's stuck. And so by using the glue stick, it allows you time to reposition it and get it just right so it lines up with all of the corners and all of the edges. This glue stick, you guys, I'm having a really tough time with, only because it's old. I left it open one day and it kind of started drying out. And it is one of my favorite glue sticks. It's the Uhu glue stick because that stuff is strong. It really, really grabs onto things. And so my bad, I left it open and it started shrinking in the barrel. And now it's really gummy and it's not smooth. And I'm struggling. So I am going to set it aside. I caved and I'm like, I can't. I'm really struggling. You see that? I'm struggling with my glue stick. Just remember to always put your cap back on your glue stick or it's going to go to waste. And those are dollars that are going down the garbage. So shame on me for that. But I reach for a fresh glue stick in just a moment. Now I am being careful with my little, what is that thing called? You know, I know all the things when I'm not recording, but when I start recording, I forget the names of the things. But that little spatula, I'm using that to really burnish and make sure that the papers are really stuck together. They're really held on together. And I hold it firm. I don't apply too much pressure because I don't want to tear the paper or scratch the paper either. I just want to make sure that there is going to be a tight bond between the layers. So firm with a little bit of pressure. Look at that. Now it's taken shape, you guys. Can you believe that was a cereal box? It is really, so if you have cereal boxes, it is really the easiest way to get started making junk journals. Okay, so what the next step here is I'm going to take some scrap fabric and I am going to trim it down to a size that fits that 2-inch spine and long enough so that it covers the length of it. So it'll probably be like 9 inches long and 3 inches wide because I want to make sure it overlaps the spine. So it's about 3 inches wide. And I'm going to glue it down to the outside and the inside. Now, this is a really important step for me. I like for my fabric to be a layer underneath the front, or how can I phrase this so that you can understand? And you'll see, because I'm going to show you how I do it. I don't want the fabric piece that I use on the exterior of the junk journal to overlap the top pages. I'm not a fan of that. I like it to be tucked in between the pages so that you only see the fabric on the spine. It does not overlap onto the front or the back cover. Does that make sense? I hope so. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about right now. Now, I'm going to glue it down with a fairly new glue. I've only just used this a couple times. It's by Crafter's Pick, and this is a fabric glue. I thought I would give it a try, and I really like it. It dries clear, and it doesn't dry tacky. Now, it has a sister called Crafter's Pick Ultimate Glue, which I tried to use on fabric. The problem with the other one is that it seeps through the fabric, and once it does that, it stays tacky. So the Ultimate Glue by Crafter's Pick, great on paper, great on metal, on glass, on plastic. I love it. Not so good on fabric. So that's why I grabbed their special fabric glue. And it seeps through very little, but it dries so fast, and it doesn't dry tacky. So even if it seeps through, it doesn't matter. It's not going to be sticky. So now I'm just spreading it. Do you see how the glue overlapped onto the front and to the back cover? And that's because I want that piece of fabric to really glue down to the spine and that little, and have the edges that are overlapping also glued down. So I'm just smoothing it out, making sure there aren't any glue bubbles. Just kind of feeling for it. And you have to go gentle, because if you go too hard, you're going to wrinkle the fabric. I'm going to do the same thing to the inside. And I like how this glue flows. I have other glues now. I live in a cold climate. I am in northern Utah, you guys. It was 14 degrees the other day. Today, I think it was like 28 degrees. Anyway, it's really cold. And my glue, like my Fabri-Tac, when I had some, and even my other glue sticks, they tend to dry out and they don't flow as nice. I envy the people, for example, that are in Florida or Arizona, even California. I watch you. I see you use your Fabri-Tac glue, and I see how it just flows so easily out of the bottle. You don't have to squeeze it. You're not getting hand cramps. It just flows effortlessly. I don't have that here in Utah. I have to grip that bottle and squeeze it. I get hand cramps. So I can appreciate this one, this fabric glue. This one's cooperating, but some of the other ones are not cooperating. During the summer, they're a little bit better. But in the wintertime, it's really tough to use glue in the wintertime here in northern Utah. Okay, so you see, now I've lined the inside, and I just like the way that looks. Plus, it adds another layer of reinforcement to the spine. So the next step is to take my focal point, my cover, and glue it to the front of the junk journal. I'm really glad that I saved it in a place that was easy to access, because a lot of my things I save and I put them in a safe place to use for later. Well, I'm still looking for things in those safe places. I haven't found them. So I was really happy when I found the calendar right where I had put it in 2018, or 2019. So I bought it in 2017. I used it in 2018, and I put it away in 2019. There you go. I love how vibrant these colors are. This artist is just so amazing. So she came out, she created a new calendar for 2023. And she announced it on her Instagram last year because, I follow her. And then I forgot to order it. So in December, you guys, I got sick. I was sick most of December, and I'm still a little bit sick. Like I still have, I have a sore throat. I'm still congested. It's like this cold that just doesn't want to go away. I don't know if well, I was sick in December with you know what, but then I got the regular flu, and then I got a regular cold. Oh my gosh. So I've been sick for a little bit, you guys. And I'm just so happy that my family helped me throughout my sick days, because without them I wouldn't have been able to do the things that needed to be done. Okay. What was I saying? Oh my gosh, I got sidetracked, you guys. Oh, the calendar. So she created this calendar and she showed a sneak peek of it on her Instagram, and I'm like, I gotta get it. Well, I forgot to get it. So the other day I went on to her Instagram to order it. She has sold out, you guys. So I missed, and this happens to me every single year, every year. Okay, so I'm bringing in some other papers to line the inside of the cover and also the back of the front cover. So I kind of pulled some papers that I thought would coordinate well with the focal points. And so that's what I'm going through right now. So I'm just going to select a few papers to use on the inside and on the outside. So every year I miss out on her calendar because I wait too long, I procrastinate, and then I miss out. And it's happened to me every single year since 2018. This is the only calendar I've been able to get. But I've marked it on my calendar because her new calendars for 2024 will be released in September later this year. So I've already put on my calendar September 1st to go on her Instagram and make sure I follow her and make sure I order that calendar the moment she puts them out. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, these are beautiful papers. I wasn't sure which one I was going to use for this particular color, but this one is so nice. This is okay, you guys, bear with me. I've been saying the damask, you guys. That's not even how it's pronounced, but I've been saying that for years. Damask. It's not damask. It sounds like I'm saying something else, but it's not. I have been saying damask for this style of paper my whole life. It's not damask. I actually Googled today because I kind of second guessed. I'm like, I wonder if I'm saying that right. It's damask. Damask. D-A-M-A-S-K. Damask. Yes, damask. It's damask. And I've been saying damask. And the only reason I even Googled it, you guys, is because I was going to be talking about it. I knew that I was going to be doing a voiceover, and I wanted to prepare myself. And I thought, what if I'm not saying that correctly? Now, I have used the word in the past, but then for some reason, I'm like, what if I'm not saying it right? So I Googled how to pronounce D-A-M-A-S-K, and it's damask. No, hold on. Damask. I can't even remember because I've been saying damask my whole life. Anyways, you know what I mean. It's a beautiful design. I love it. And look at how well it coordinates. So that is a beautiful paper. So I'm glad I chose that one. You know what? Tomatoes. I'm going to continue to say damask. You know what? That's just the way it is. Because I can't remember the correct way to say it. But is it really correct? I don't know. I have been binge watching. There is I binge watch decorator or designer home design videos. They're my favorite things to watch on YouTube. That's what I do. And I have been watching maximalism style because I am a maximalist, you guys. And so there's this designer, his name is Nick Lewis. And I was watching him and he was talking about all these different designs. And I think that is what had me second guess the way I was saying damask. He said something. He didn't use the word, but he said something, and then made me second guess the way I was pronouncing things. And anyway, I've been saying it wrong. But anyway, he's a great designer, and I like how he goes through all of the different designs of decor. And if you don't know what your style is, he's a great guy to watch. His name is Nick Lewis. He's got a video where if you struggle with your style or trying to figure out what it is that you like, he has this one video where he kind of helps you determine what your style is. And so anyway, I've been binge watching him for a while. So I get sidetracked. I know it is just what I do. Bear with me. It's how I've always been. Thank you so much for joining me and putting up with me. Okay, so I have now trimmed down the inside covers, again, to 8.5 by 6. And I'm going to glue it down. This paper, you guys, with the little birds is by Jen Hadfield. OMG, I love this paper so much. And I only have the one paper. I hope, I need to go and get some more. I need to find, I think I got this paper at Joann's, the one sheet. And I should have grabbed more, at least a dozen. I didn't realize I was going to love it as much. But the birds, the color palette, and then it just blends so well with everything else. I'm going to love this. I am going to love this juncture. I love it already. It's going to be my favorite. I know it. I know it. So now I'm just going to glue it. So now do you see how I have used multiple layers to reinforce the foundation piece? Now there are some cereal boxes that are nice and sturdy. Those are great. I do have a couple of Cheerios boxes that the chipboard or the cardboard that was used for it is nice and sturdy. But the other ones are not. They're weaker, they're a lighter chipboard. And so it's important to reinforce it so that it feels really good in your hands. So that makes it 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 layers. You've got the foundation, and then you've got the cardstock on the front and the back, or the front and the inside. That's 3. And then you've got the decorator, or the designer paper here on the inside. That's 4. And then you've got the designer or the printed cardstock on the other side. Anyways, that's 5 layers. 5 layers. It feels so good in your hands, you guys. Nice and sturdy and feels really good. So look at that. Oh my gosh, look at that sugar skull. I love it. It is so beautiful. I am going to, off camera, stitch all around. I'm going to do a zigzag stitch on the outside cover, and I'm going to do that off camera. So I will be pausing the video doing that. And also I need to let the cover, I actually let the cover dry, you guys, for about 6 hours, because I don't want the sticky stuff to get into my needle. So while I set that aside and let it dry, that's when I take the time to cut down all of the other cereal boxes and the calendar pages. So that is what I do. I started working on these first thing in the morning, and then the second half of the video I did about 6 hours later, and that gave the covers enough drying time so that it wouldn't gum up on my sewing machine. Excuse me. So now I've trimmed down all of the other cereal boxes, as you can see here, and I've used just different scrapbooking papers or cardstocks in colors that I'm not going to use. And then I'm also using packaging to reinforce the spine. So you could see some of them will have the cardstock on the spine, And I only do a thin layer of that cardstock on the outside cover. I don't do it on the inside. Having it on the outside cover is enough reinforcement. And so I'm just showing you here, I'm just kind of flipping them for you. These are going to be a lot of journals, you guys. You know, I only wanted to work on one. I said to myself, we're only going to work on one journal at a time. We're going to stop that working on a dozen at a time nonsense, because that's just crazy talk. And then I cut down 14, you guys. There's 11 calendar pages that I'm going to use. And then I had some extra cereal boxes, so I think I cut down 13 or 14 boxes. But I'm only going to do the 11. The 11 calendar pages. I'm still thinking I want to only do one at a time. I don't know. You know what? I'm so used to working on several at a time that it'll be hard for me to just do one at a time. Okay, so this is the packaging that I used to reinforce that spine. And I'm going to show you how I correct the junk journal that we started with. Because, well, we'll talk about that in just a moment. So just kind of flipping through all of the different covers. This is a great time for you to use those scrapbooking papers that you don't like as layering pieces underneath. Yeah. So we need to stop hoarding those and start using them for something, for reinforcement. Oh, and that was also more packaging that I used for the spine. Now, if you don't have scrapbooking paper and you need to add layers to the journal cover, you can use more cereal box if you want. You just don't want to make it too thick. I made the mistake of doing that with my Christmas junk journal, which, by the way, I'm still working on, and I should have a flip through video of that in February. I know Christmas is December, but you know, I'm not done with it. I'm not done, almost. So let's show you now how I've trimmed down all of the calendar pages. And they're all 8.5 by 6. These are gorgeous images, you guys. By the way, the calendar was called, she named the calendar Celebration, Celebración de la Comida, which is celebration of food. That's the theme of her calendar for that year. So now that I've trimmed all of those down, I'm just going to set all of that aside. Oh, let me show you what I did. So when I was trimming down the calendar pages, we have all of the offcuts. But I loved how vibrant and the colors from the offcuts, you know, they're part of the calendar pages. And there was a big stack. And so I grabbed some punches and I started punching away. I used an oval, a tab, a ticket punch, and also a butterfly punch. And I went through all of the offcuts until there were strings of paper left. You guys, I do this with all of my offcuts from scrapbooking paper and also pretty paper like this. Nothing goes to waste. I repurpose everything, and I'm just showing you here. I just took one of the punches that I have, and now I am building my die cut stash. And all of these little pieces, all of these little die cuts, I will be able to use when I begin to embellish the junk journals. So it'll be perfect for that. I also used a heart punch, a scalloped circle, and what else? But you could see how I keep them in my little sugar skull tray. I purchased that sugar skull tray from Dollar Tree last September, I believe it was. And it lives on my desk all year long because it's a great little catch-all for things like this. So I'm going to show you just really quick what I did with all of those little papers. This also helps minimize my scraps of paper. I don't have a lot of scraps, and that's because when I'm done with a project, any papers that I have left over, If they are small pieces, I grab my punches or I grab my dies and I start die cutting. And I have different plastic containers with circles and hearts and stars, big ones, little ones, medium ones. So when I need a star, when I need a heart, when I need a circle, I go to that little plastic container and I pull from it. I will show you that in a future video because they are just inexpensive plastic, like the food containers from Dollar Tree. That's where I keep all of my die cuts, you guys. That's working for me right now, but I'm running out of storage space, so I may have to condense those, but we'll talk about that in a future video, so you can have a visual and kind of get an idea of how I store once I die cut all of these or punch all of these little pieces. But it's a great way to use up your scraps, and also a great way to use your dies and your punches as well, creating your own little embellishments and your own little ephemera pieces. And the scallop circles I cut from that Cheerios box. The one I was telling you, that was pretty sturdy. Like that box felt really good. And I had a few of the offcuts, and so I just cut some scallop circles. And those we could use those as tabs to embellish clusters. We can paint them and layer them and embellish and use them in the junk journals or other projects as well. Okay, so I'm going to put all of those things away and set it aside. I know I got sidetracked, but I thought I'd show you what I do with the offcuts. I hope you find that helpful. Okay, ta-da! Here's the journal, you guys. I stitched all around. Look at that beautiful zigzag stitching. You guys, I pat myself on the back. That is the best zigzag stitching I have ever done. And you know, whenever I zigzag stitch or on any junk journal, I do the best I can. But for this one today, blew my mind, you guys. I did so well. Okay, so what I did here, I reinforced the spine. I'm pointing out so you could see there is a little gap at the top and the bottom. I had already added the fabric, as you saw earlier, but I forgot to reinforce it. So I grabbed some packaging and I trimmed it down to 8.5 by 2 inches. Actually, just shy of 2 inches because I wanted to make sure that it fit snug in the journal. So then I took that strip of paper. I'm showing you here this little skinny one, just for demonstration purposes. And so I took the strip and I covered it with the same fabric, glued it down, and then attached it to the inside of the spine. On all the others, I added it to the outside, but you know, I hadn't missed a step. And so I added it to the inside, and now it's reinforced that spine. So now it's nice and sturdy, and it's not flimsy, because you don't want your spine to fold in on you. And you want to make sure that it is sturdy enough, because we still need to stitch in I like to do 2 signatures, you guys. I do. I know I could probably fit 3 signatures in there, but I like to do 2 signatures, each with about 10 pages. So a total of 20 pages that I use to build my signatures. And so we want to make sure that the spine is sturdy enough. And while we're at it, while we have the cover out, I thought I would finish it completely and add the metal embellishments that I like to use. I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit, so pardon me if I lose my voice. I like to use these large eyelets. They are by We Are Memory Keepers. And oh, by the way, you guys, if you are interested in seeing all of the things that I like to use, or my favorite things, or the supplies that I use the most, I am an Amazon affiliate, and so I do have a link down below. So if you're curious, I have listed most of the things that I use on a regular basis. And so if you click on that Amazon link, it'll take you to all of the things that I use. And then more information about that will be in the description area below. If you do make a purchase from my link, I do earn a small commission, which does not affect you in any way whatsoever. Or if you're just curious to know more about some of the supplies that I use, all of that information will be at that link, the Amazon link. All right. Okay. So I'm using my Crop-A-Dial to punch the holes. I've marked it with my marker there. Punch the holes, and now I'm going to use, I changed my mind with the grommets. I'm actually going to use, I thought these, when I grabbed these, I thought these were like a brushed gold. So I'm not going to use this color. I'm going to reach for the black ones. So I'm just going to place the black ones in there. But these are great. Did I tell you who they're from? We Are Memory Keepers. And they look really nice. They look heavy duty, like they're really gonna hold your closure together. So I like this look. And now I'm feeling to make sure that it is smooth and it's not going to pinch or scratch your fingers. And it is coming together, you guys. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. I can't wait for the others. These journals, you guys, are going to be so vibrant and so happy. Color makes me very happy. And they're not necessarily going to be Day of the Dead theme. They will have a lot of those elements, but these are going to be everyday journals with a lot of vibrant and lots of festive and happy and beautiful colors throughout. And so I can't wait to start working on them. Okay, I reached over for the book corners. I have been using two different styles for a long time. These that are wood or metal appliques for wood plaques. And then the others that I like to use are the Tim Holtz book corners. Love those. Those are my favorite. But then I came across these on Amazon. And so I ordered them to give them a try. And I've used them. I used the rose gold on my Christmas junk. That's my Christmas junk journal, you guys. I'll have a full flip through in February next month because I'm not done with it. But I wanted to show you that I have used the book corners on that one. And so I thought I would reach for these and use the gold ones on this journal. They are shinier. There is one in there that looks like a vintage bronze. It is, I'm pointing down below because you can also find more information on my Amazon affiliate link if you want more information on those and the Tim Holtz ones as well. Excuse me. But they come in 4 colors: the rose gold, the yellow gold, and then a chrome and the vintage gold or the vintage brass. But it's 4 different colors. And they look beautiful. I love the way that rose gold looks on my Christmas junk journal. So I grabbed my little bead landing toolkit. I purchased this many years ago from Michael's. And it has my little pliers, my little toolkit in there. It's what I use when I, oh, really quick. This is that other glue, you guys, the Crafters Pick, the Ultimate Glue. That stuff is great. It is great. I got this one at Hobby Lobby, but you can also find it online. So if you don't have a Hobby Lobby, you can also get it on Amazon. And again, it's also listed in my Amazon link down below. But this stuff is great. It holds metal, glass, and plastic, and it dries clear. This stuff is great, and it's great on paper as well. So I add a little bit of the glue to the corners, and then I very gently press it with my pliers. And these are just like flat pliers. I know they have a technical term, but they're just flat pliers to me. And very gently press it. And it's very easy to work with these photo corners. They are a softer metal, so it doesn't take too much muscle to make sure that these are, or these grab on. So I'm just kind of going over it, and they're nice and smooth. It doesn't have any, they don't have sharp edges. They feel really nice and smooth on those corners, and they just look so pretty. I just love it. Now, because it is a softer metal, on the inside you will be able to see some of the indentations that the pliers leave, but that doesn't bother me. And I think it's bound to happen. You know, we're squeezing it, but it doesn't look bad. I'm just checking to make sure that they are smooth and that there aren't any sharp corners. Book corners, these metal book corners and all the others that I've used in my other journals, they add such a nice detail to the junk journals. So I don't think I will stop using them. So again, just adding a little bit of glue, and look at that stitching, you guys. I'm so happy with the way that stitching turned out, because let me tell you, if I'm going to mess up on stitching, it's going to be on my own personal work, because the stitching on my Christmas junk journal, you guys, I can't wait to point that out. It was the worst stitching I've ever done. I couldn't get the stitches even. And every single side is wonky. The stitching is wonky. It skips, but we'll talk about that later. That's one of the reasons why I am so pleased with this one, because the last cover I stitched was my Christmas junk journal cover, and it turned out so bad. And I'm just so happy that it turned out so good this time, today. It looks really good. You guys, I am so happy that you are here with me today. Thank you for being here with me, and I hope that you are off to a fantastic 2023. I read a post today, and it said, if you are going to set goals for 2023 or for the new year, stick to one goal, you guys. There's no reason for us to put our brains through so much work and stress and worry. Let's just stick to one goal and focus on that one for 2023. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, so now that I've added all 4 book corners, you guys, this one is, the cover is done. Now I just need to work on the signatures and on the other 11 junk journals I'm going to make. Oh, excuse me. I can't laugh, you guys, because if I start laughing, I am going to start coughing. I'm showing you, I'm bringing this back. I'm going to show you something that I do. I'm showing you how it kind of dried up, and it's just so tacky, and it just won't spread anymore. But I'm not giving up on it yet. So I grabbed a few new glue, Avery glue sticks, and these are also some of my favorites. Now I use glue stick. I use 100% of the glue in my glue sticks, you guys, just like I do with my chapstick, just like I do with my lipsticks. I don't let any product go to waste. So what I do is I stick my finger in there and I grab the glue, and then I smeared it on the paper and to glue the stuff down. So I didn't let any of that glue go to waste. And then I also would grab my bone folder, and with the pointy side, I also scooped out some of the glue. But that is not going to go to waste. So don't be throwing away your glue sticks if you still have glue in there. Just use something, butter knife or something, and get that out of there, and use up 100% of your glue, because those are dollars. We're not throwing dollars away, you guys. So I just wanted to point that out, that is what I did. I went through 6 glue sticks, you guys. 6 glue sticks with all of the junk journals that I did. So in the future, I don't know if I will show you the process of putting everything together, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, because I go kind of fast and I don't record everything. So it might be a flip through what I end up doing. Anyway, you guys, thanks so much for being here with me. I appreciate you so much. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel so you could see a lot more of this. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for being here with me. You guys take care, and I will see you next time. Bye.